The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Are You Afraid Scream Queens, the unofficial Scream Queens internet radio show exclusively on Papi Chulo Radio. Today is Sunday, October 4th, 2015, and I'm your host, Papi Chulo. During tonight's broadcast, we're going to recap, review, and dissect the latest episode of Scream Queens. Later on in the broadcast, get ready for a spoiler alert as we bring you the hit Fox series' casting scoops, spoilers, and ratings. Please welcome my fellow co-hosts. First up, he's your favorite soft-serve mascot. It's Prince Rico Suave.
Hello, hello, hello.
Slow clap. Next up, you can always find a chainsaw under his bed. It's Wilson Hammond Jr.
Hey, how you doing? Wash those arms.
Exactly.
Why did he get the better introduction? I wanted to be Zayday.
Well,
Man, you're not sexy as me, bro.
Salt.
You'll have your chance one day. We all
Nah.
want to be Zayday, maybe. I don't know.
I'll
And
be decided, bro.
there you go. And last but not least, even when she dies, she will still be posting selfies on Instagram. It's Priscilla.
They weren't even cute ones.
I know, right?
Always cute, Priscilla. Always.
Aww.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. So let's jump into our recap of episode 103, which was appropriately titled Chainsaw and aired on September 29th, 2015. Here's the official synopsis of the episode. Frightened and angered by the Red Devil's reign of terror and Chanel's apathetic attitude, Chanel No. 5 declares her independence from Chanel and the sorority. Keen to boost her dwindling popularity and restore her diminishing band of minions, Chanel decides to give Hester a makeover and induct her into the sorority as Chanel No. 6. Grace, Zayday, and Denise discover bloodstains in Chanel No. 2's bedroom and believe that she has been murdered by the Red Devil, but learn that Chanel No. 2 is still posting pictures to her Instagram from an unknown location. Confused, the trio head to Bel Air to speak to Chanel No. 2's parents, who tell her that Chanel No. 2, whose real name is Sonia, was dating Chad Radwell. Denise becomes convinced that there are two Red Devils, Zayday being one of them, while Grace believes that Chad Radwell may be responsible for the murders. The Red Devil has begun wielding a chainsaw as his weapon of choice, possibly in response to Wes's film analysis class on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. After killing the university's new school mascot, he is goaded into fighting the Dickie Dollar Scholars, who have become convinced that Boone's suicide was actually murder. However, confronted by two Red Devils, each wielding a chainsaw, the Scholars are hopelessly outplayed, resulting in death. Dean Munch and Gigi decide to move into the Kappa house temporarily, ostensibly to protect the students. Irritated by Dean Munch's white noise machine and her intrusion into her salad date with Wes, Gigi decides to sleep downstairs where she is confronted by a chainsaw-wielding Red Devil. Aided by Wes, Gigi manages to evade the attack and the Red Devil flees. Alarmed by the screams, Dean Munch arrives downstairs where Wes and Gigi accuse her of being the killer. Good grief, a lot of crap happened in that episode. So I want to get everyone's initial reaction to what happened during the episode titled Chainsaw. And we're going to start off with Wilson.
Last week, I was pretty cynical about that episode, or the combination of the two. This week, after our discussion and everything that happened, I think I'm hooked like a bass on the line, man.
Yes.
I'm digging where this is going.
Good grief, we have a convert.
Oh
He's seen the light.
Awesome. Priscilla, what were your initial reactions or your initial reaction to the episode?
Holy crap, I'm never going to be able to listen to everybody the same way again.
You mean Backstreet's Back, all right?
Yes. It's called Everybody, and then Backstreet's Back. In parentheses, get your 90s stuff right.
Yes. My personal favorite was Two of Hearts.
Oh my god.
That was fantastic. But continue on with your initial reactions.
So, just the deaths, like, again, they were awesome, but I don't know, now everything's confusing to me. Our predictions from last episode for us, like, they might be changing. At least for me, they might be.
no, I was right.
All right now.
That's what
Think about it. I said it. I told you, Zayday. I told you, I knew it. And Grace, her pop spot. We'll get to there. We'll get to that.
We'll get
I had
to
a
that.
feeling.
Prince, your initial thoughts on the episode.
I just thought it was comical. Like, I'm loving the comedy aspect of it, and so it's keeping me drawn. And as for the mystery, like, everybody's a suspect, and everybody becomes a suspect. So I love that.
Hey, man, you smoke weed, don't you?
Hell a lot of weed.
I could tell.
There you
What's
go.
that supposed to mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
You always talk about the comedy. I mean, that's not a bad thing. We all
No, but
we
I
all
love
have our
that they
fights.
added the comedy to a horror show. Like, I watch a lot of horror shows. I watch How to Get Away with Murder. It's not comical. So, like, something like this is kind of funny. Like, they're dumb, and the shit that they say is just, it's funny, like, because you don't expect it.
You must have loved the shout out then, the tweet.
Oh my god, I thought that was so hilarious. And the fact that
No.
none of them realized that she tweeted it, and then the only person that realized was Denise, and she's like throwing it in their face.
Indeed. Yeah, that was pretty good.
She's like, oh, so you guys-
Hashtag cahoots. Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. To be honest, last week I didn't necessarily care for Chanel number 1. I still don't necessarily care for Chanel number 1, and I understand that that's how she's supposed to be. But it was kind of refreshing that she wasn't in the episode as much as the first two. So it was really great to see like the other characters get a little bit of shine on themselves rather than just Chanel number 1. So overall, it was a really great episode. I love the music choices. It was very 90s, and I really love the whoever's the music advisor to the show that has created like the instrumentals in the background, because it's very 70s 80s like early 90s horror, like the ding and like the weird, that weird horror movie type music that they use. It's very fantastic. They've done a really great job with the music, the instrumentals that they use in the background to set the ambiance of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, so let's get into the episode. And the episode starts off with our two girls, Grace and Zayday, heading over to like a quick stop type place where they're picking up snacks. They Cool Ranch chips and pork rinds, and you need syrup for the pork rinds.
Can I ask, is that a thing?
I've never heard of this either.
There's a lot of weird stuff that goes on. I have a cousin that puts grape jelly on hot dogs.
Well, there you go. I will say I like pork rind, but I've never put syrup, strawberry or chocolate on a pork rind.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah, I agree. But
That's like instant diabetes.
I don't think I'm gonna try.
there you go. You should, Priscilla, and you can fill us in.
Oh
Don't
God,
do
no.
it.
Yes.
Don't do it.
I dare you. Now you have to do it. And so while they're, getting chips and whatnot, we see the Red Devil. Oh no, is he gonna attack in the middle of the night in a convenience store? Maybe, maybe not. And so as Grace goes to get either strawberry or chocolate sauce, the Red Devil appears and appears to be like lunging towards her. And then all of a sudden she whips out a what do you call those?
Pink taser.
A taser, yes, one of those tasers. Don't tase me, bro. And that Zayday's grandmother had sent her, right?
Yep. Zeta's grandmother knows her shit.
Exactly, and she aims it right at the crotch, so she knows exactly what to do with the taser, especially if it's a man. And she zaps this poor boy who, it turns out it's just Eugene from Poli-Sci, and he was just, he didn't bring any money. He forgot his wallet at home. He was trying to just steal some Cool Ranch chips. So apparently he learned a mighty lesson that night. What did everyone think of the opening?
Did you notice it's a reference to Scream when the girls are walking away from the convenience store and they flash to the where the cold items are kept and the guy with the Scream mask is staring at them. Like it was a reference to that part.
Oh yes, I remember that. It's been a while since I've seen Scream.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my God, she tased him in the nuts. I cannot imagine how much pain that would be.
Don't tase me, bro.
Yeah.
And it was a pink taser.
Well,
Like-
yes, she's stylish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the grandma's very she thinks about everything.
Exactly.
She makes sure it matches because they're in a sorority house now, and they have to be careful. But still, that whole syrup with whatever chips thing that sounds gross.
Pork
I don't know.
rinds. They're not chips.
They need to put that out there, and the Red Devil's just gonna go away because she's gonna be grossed out.
Oh my gosh.
I would be. I'm just gonna be no, bye.
Well, there you go. So, moving on from the opening scene, there's a lot that sort of happened in the episode, so I'm not necessarily going to go fully in order, but I'll try to follow some of the storylines so that we can get to, what kind of went down in the episode. We learn in this episode that Dean Munch has enacted several basically measures to sort of safeguard the campus, and it was kind of due to what happened at that quick stop, and so she decided to get rid of the Red Devil, although the Red Devil has this history on Wallace University, and instead they have a new mascot that basically is a soft serve ice cream cone, better known as Coney, which no one responds well to. And she ends up actually telling Coney, "You're a disgrace," which was kind of fantastic. And another thing that she decides to do to safeguard the campus is she decides to move into the Kappa house with Gigi for a week to keep an eye on the girls. And it's interesting because no one seems to have noticed that there is a girl missing. Chanel Number 2, her death has been largely kept a secret, despite her body being inside of a deep freezer, but all of a sudden her body gets missing from the deep freezer, and nobody knows where Chanel Number 2's body is. Grace and Zayday start snooping around Chanel Number 2's bedroom, and they find a stain on the carpet. Could it be bulimia? Could it be, some liquor on the ground? Nope. It is blood. And how do we know it's blood? Because our good friend, security guard Denise Hemphill, is sure of it because she has a little spray bottle of luminol, and if you put a a black light on it, you can see that it's blood. And why does she use it? Because she needs to check out the horseradish or something at the Arby's.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because luminol has iron in it too, and she doesn't like horseradish.
Exactly.
Wait, no.
But is luminol healthy to eat or to? That's what I'm curious. Like, you're gonna spray your food and then you have to eat it, right?
I think if it has horseradish in it, she's just not gonna eat it. She's gonna take it back to Arby's.
But if it doesn't, she's got to eat it, right?
That's
The
true. Holy shit.
luminol-laced food. I don't know if
Wow.
it's healthy, listeners, but I would not eat something luminolized.
No, that sounds kind of disgusting.
I agree
Don't
with
do it.
Prince.
Don't do it.
Little detective kids out there. I'm gonna buy some luminol just to make sure it's blood, but it's always blood, just to make sure.
Exactly.
It's always blood.
I wish that they would have included the clip from the commercial when she goes, boom, shakalaka. That is blood. But they didn't include it in the show.
Oh my god.
That would have been fantastic. I love Denise Hemphill.
Denise Hempel's the best part. And when they just leave and she's like, don't invite me, hoes.
Yes. Because they decide to go to Bel Air. So we've figured out where this Wallace University is. Because remember last week we were kind of curious, like, where the hell is this place? So it's got to be on the West Coast. It's got to be in California because it's near Bel Air. It's close enough to just drive to Bel Air.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, home's to Bel Air. Exactly.
Did you notice in the candlelight vigil, Candle Girl is holding her own candle? She didn't
Oh, I
even...
didn't notice that. But I did notice how in class she wanted to light her own candle.
Wow.
Shout out to Candle Girl.
Does she have her... I like her. She has her own, like... She has her own, like, little gags, like, in the side. Like, and Coney, when he's being a dick and, like, shoves, like, the food out of the way of someone, that's Candle Girl's food.
Oh, that was. I need
Yeah.
to go back and look at that. Poor Candle Girl.
Oh, and the
Oh.
16 Candles rock.
Oh, yeah, that was her? Holy shit. She's
Yeah.
addicted. Girl. Need to get more into that sorority life. Get, like, more than just that candle hobby.
Poor Candle Girl. So yeah, for their part, the Chanels had told the pledges that number 2 had a mental breakdown, that she moved back home. So the girls decided to go visit Bel Air. And, well, they noticed a couple things before they went to Bel Air. That she has been updating her Instagram with some Weekend at Bernie's style pictures, in my opinion, because she always has her head tilted, and she's got her legs and arms sort of like flayed about, like not as like a human would be posing. It just looks like she's Weekends at Bernie's. Someone is doing that to her. And Denise Hemphill, because she's a bit of a Jessica Fletcher herself. She checked out that Chanel number 2 had tweeted, "I'm being murdered by the Red Devil," and that's like her last tweet. So the girls, without Denise, decide to visit Bel Air, to Chanel number 2's parents, which include Cordelia from Buffy and the creepy pharmacist from Desperate Housewives. And they suspect that number 2 is off somewhere on a bender, and they basically tell them, if you see her, tell her not to come back. And they also let them know that Chanel number 2, was dating Chad Radwell, who we all know is Chanel's Chad. And apparently Chad has been poking all of the Chanels, leaving them dirty thank you letters and everything.
Yup. But to be like, even in the candlelight vigil, like Chanel number 1 knows that he's sleeping with a bunch of people. She's like, can you just like sleep with a little less people? He's
Exactly. Well, can y'all explain to me, how does Chad Radwell somehow break up with Chanel again, even though they were not together?
because she wants to get back with him, and he's like, no, I'm breaking up with you again. That's
Yes.
that. He dangled her on the hook, and then he's like, no, I'm just gonna leave you. I'd break up with you again.
That's all it is right there. She got it.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Chanel number 5 had it because she was like, I slept with him, but I wasn't really into it.
She's more into 2 guys, I think.
Well, no, she was like, I did it, like I slept with him, but I wasn't really feeling it, but I did it. It's like a trophy, like he's the trophy dude, like you
Chad
just gotta sleep
Radwell
with him.
gets around.
Yeah.
No, he's the trophy dude, like they all want him under the notch. Like I slept with Chad, like I slept with the trophy dude of like the big man on campus.
Yeah. For Chanel number 5 to be happy, she's got to get Eiffel Towered.
Because he says, don't say that like about him loving Chanel number 1, but he did say I love you to the dean.
Yeah, that was interesting. And it's funny how the dean and number 5 don't like how Chad Radwell fucks.
Yeah. But the 2 like kind of desperate ones, like two in one, like, are just kind of like, okay, sure, I like you.
Yeah.
But one was probably like drunk out of her mind, and the other one's just kind of like desperate.
There you go. What's interesting as well about the candlelight vigil, because there's a candlelight vigil for Boone, and there's an interesting conversation between Predatory Les and Chanel number 3.
Hmm.
That was kind of interesting. You know, they're, I don't know, they seem to be a really interesting twosome to pair up.
Oh, you're talking about. Are you talking about afterwards when she's like, or
Well,
like
both
during the
of the
bedroom,
scenes, both
or?
of the scenes were really interesting because there was kind of like the way that she approached Predatory Les was very kind of like hitting on her kind of way, but then she's like, "Are you hitting
Yeah, it
on
was like
me?"
Mad Suspect.
It was very weird. It was, and then she was like, "Oh, are you hitting on me?" You know, she kept on trying to throw it off to her when it seemed more as if she was the one that was hitting on Predatory Les.
Yeah, Chanel number 3 is like, I don't know. She's very mysterious in every way. Like, you don't know where like she is most of the time with anything. She reminds me a lot of like Heather Morrison's character in like Glee, that she's just so kind of like spaced out and stupid that you don't know like really, I don't know what she's thinking or if she's thinking of anything.
Exactly, if she's thinking at all. But that conversation was interesting, and it led into their second conversation of the episode, and it was in whose bedroom was that? That she walked into the bedroom, right? So that's Predatory Les's bedroom.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, she walks into the bedroom, and basically is like, you know, I need a good friend. I need someone that I can trust. You know, we need. Didn't she say that she needed someone to be like a soulmate or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was like, I need you to
Yeah.
be more than a friend. I need you to be a soulmate. And basically, she confesses to Predatory Les because she's like, I don't know who I can trust, and I don't know if I'm going to die, but I feel like someone needs to know this. And she confesses that apparently her father is not her biological father, that her mother had become obsessed with this man that had done very bad things, and she had somehow arranged conjugal visits with this man, and she did a DNA test, and she got the results recently, and she found out that she is the daughter of dun, 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 Charles Manson. And she's like, I can't tell people this because if people knew that I was the daughter of Charles Manson, then they would know that they would immediately assume that I was the killer, but I'm not the killer. And she said that like 5 times. She was like, but I'm not the killer, but I'm not the killer. Which I thought that was kind of suspicious. And
I
yeah.
thought it was suspicious when the Alla buddies.
Oh yeah, that was kind of weird too. The alibis, and then
Yeah, like you need an alibi.
yeah, she was like, I need, you know, I might need an alibi, and like you might need an alibi. Let's be our alibis. Let's be alibuddies.
Mm-hmm. What I took with that was she said that her mom heard things from like aliens and stuff like that, and I'm like, is that why you wear earmuffs, because you hear things from like
Ah.
people, like, so you're trying to like stuffle them out, or is that where you hear them from?
Maybe
Like,
she's schizophrenic.
yeah, that's what I took from that. I'm just like, and
Look at
as for
Priscilla being astute about stuff. I like that. That was a
So she
good catch.
so he's more like Mary's little brother from There's Something About Mary. Don't touch his headphones. You don't touch her earphone or her earmuffs. All of those situations.
She could be.
which would go with
Something's going on.
Pretty weird.
Oh my god. Aw.
Yeah.
Chanel.
This show is definitely gaining on me. It's definitely gaining on me. I'm actually like, before I was like, man, I really don't care who the killer is. Like, you know, if we get to the end, I just want to see who the killer is at the end. But now I'm like, I want to see who else gets killed, because then that'll make me curious about who the killer is, because frat guys are random, you know, kind of random frat guys to kill, and there's 2 of them. And we haven't gotten that far, have we?
Well, we'll
Darn.
discuss that. Before we get into that, let's talk really quick about the makeover of the episode. We find Hester looking as messy as ever. finding her way inside of Chanel's closet, to which Chanel, she dubs it her closet badge. And Hester starts, going around and, grabbing some of her outfits and feeling all pretty and shit. And then she gets caught by Chanel. And basically, Chanel's like, "You violated my closet badge." And earlier in the episode, Chad had basically said to her, "You've got all those misfits. I can't date you, because you got all these misfits, below you. You need hot girls in the Kappa house, and then maybe I'll date you." And so she decides to make over Hester. Even though Hester's got scoliosis and she needs that neck brace, they remove the neck brace and they Chanel Hester up. And they make her beautiful, and even though she's in pain because she doesn't have the neck brace, she feels very pretty, and she has been officially dubbed Chanel number 6. And this is where Chanel number 5 revolts, because pledges can't be Chanel's and this, that, or the other, and so she decides to quit being a member of the Kappa house. She quits the sorority.
Grace would have been a Chanel, though. Grace was already offered like Chanel number 6 before, like Hester was, so I thought that was like kind of like it was gonna happen, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did we like Hester's makeover? I mean, it's not like we don't know what Lea Michele looks like.
Ugh.
I'm waiting for the guys to like respond, because I had like.
I'm not politically correct. I'm sorry. I never will be. I'm more suited to Scotch in the suit in 1950s. I don't care. That woman is not attractive.
Well, there you go. Prince, do you approve of Chanel number 6?
What happened? It's Lea Michele. It wasn't that serious. I kind of saw it happening. And you know what? They foreshadowed it on their Instagrams before the show happened, so I kind of already knew it was going to happen, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. We knew she had a little bit more to play. They wouldn't put someone like her in there if she had like a minor role in the whole situation.
Yeah, like Lea Michele wouldn't be ugly the whole season. Like, I don't even think she would let that happen.
Yeah.
Like, come on, it's Lea Michele. She always plays geeky at first, and then dope somewhere down the line. And it's like,
there you go.
Look at the transformation. It's the ugly swan turned into the beautiful. Like, nah, we get it.
Yeah, but that's not true. She didn't turn into anything.
Oh.
Wilson is coming for you, Chanel number 6. Watch
Chanel
your back.
number 6 should be. Chanel number 6 should already be dead. What are we doing here?
You better hope she's not the Red Devil.
Well, there's that. You never know.
We'll go ahead and kill her off.
Okay.
You better
Priscilla.
hope she's not the Red Devil.
So
I'm sorry.
the first time I saw her going in, I'm just like, oh my god, don't touch her stuff. What are you doing? You're dirty. You're touching like all of these pretty things. Go away. Don't touch these pretty things.
Wow,
You're
you're
ugly.
Chanel.
Yes, I'm very much like, ah. And then when she transformed, I'm like, oh, you just gave Lea Michele an inch. She's going to take a mile. She's going to be a bitch. She's going to take all your shit. You already saw her trying to take your shit when she was ugly. Like, now that she's pretty, she's going to take more of your shit. No, no. I see bad things happening there.
Aw, poor neck brace.
Yeah, I think the neck brace was a front in the first place. But we said that last week. The neck brace was we're pretty sure the neck brace is the front. So,
well, we'll see about that. We'll see how long she remains neck brace less. All right, let's talk about the new character of this episode, our good friend Coney. We never really got a chance to see who Coney is, but we do know that he's short and he's the right size to fit inside the soft serve ice cream mascot suit. And the dude that was inside of Coney was very happy, because when you're a mascot, you can do anything. You can, pinch girls' asses, you can squeeze their boobs, you can cut in line, you can steal money from the cash register. Who gives a fuck, because you're Coney. And but Coney got a little too cocky, because even though he had dreams of being in the big leagues of mascots in the world, unfortunately, the devilish mascot known as the Red Devil caught Coney in his dorm room, and after a pretty comical fight for half a second, and I really thought that Coney was going to survive, Coney ends up getting thrown to the ground, and he ends up getting chainsawed, and his head got chopped off. Rest in peace, Coney. You're stealing cash and grabbing ass in heaven now.
The Red Devil didn't like his toppings, so he took them off.
Exactly.
Oh,
I mean, killing Coney off isn't kind of ironic. Coney killing.
I didn't think of it that way. Holy shit. That was
Not for
awesome.
nothing. He wasn't that major of a character. When they gave him like his little subtle like monologue, I was like, "Are you serious? Are we really doing this right now?"
Yes, you know Ryan Murphy in the monologues. Everybody gets a monologue at some point,
Hmm.
Clearly, I'm like, even ice
and it's
cream
always a
cones you get
walking monologue.
Did you see that he gave his all though? He kicked the Red Devil. Like, and he could have done it too if he didn't like turtle and like I've fallen and I can't get up. Like
Yeah,
he
poor
needed some
guy.
life alert or something. Like shit.
Shout out to Life Alert. Poor Coney. He almost had a
Man.
chance though. He really did. Like out of everybody that's messed with the Red Devil, he really had a shot. But unfortunately, as Priscilla said, he turtled out.
Felt bad for poor Coney. But then then now that I think about it, he's kind of an asshole. So whatever. Bye, Coney. You were an interesting death.
Yes,
Definitely interesting, man. Chopping up the soft serve.
exactly. On to the next death of the night. So, the Dickie Dollar Scholars. I'm never going to get tired of saying that. The Dickie Dollar Scholars. It's so weird. They decide to get a bit of inspiration from Dean Munch's Take Back the Night rally, and they decide to do a reverse Take Back the Night, at least in Chad Radwell's eyes. Apparently, he's going to do like what they do out in the street. Apparently, what people do when they want to fight someone in the streets, you get roided up, and then you arm yourself with baseball bats, and then you roam the streets yelling the name of the person that you want to fight, and then automatically that person is going to show up to fight, and then you kick their ass.
Street rules.
Exactly. I've never heard of these street rules, but apparently they exist somewhere in the world. And so the Dickie Dollars decide to do that. They decide to wear their khaki finest, and they get baseball bats, and they decide to start beating the crap out of anything red. So they start beating up on a fire hydrant, and then all of a sudden they see a red car, and they deduce that that must be the car of the Red Devil because it's red. And so they beat the car down and break the windows and everything, and then they deduce that this is a little bit more difficult than they anticipated, and then bam, a Red Devil shows up, and they're like, I knew it'd work. And it's got a chainsaw. But then bam, another Red Devil shows up with another chainsaw. And the Dickie Dollar Scholars decide to, approach these villains with the bats. And as they start swinging the bats, the chainsaws, cut the bats in half, and this, that, or the other. And for some reason, how did Chad Radwell get knocked down? Did one of the Red Devils just accidentally hit him?
No, he went after the Red Devil with his bat, and the Red Devil ducked and slammed him with the flat side of the chainsaw
Okay,
instead
there you
of
go.
going after him.
So he gets knocked out, and he's on the ground, and one of the Red Devils is ready to start slicing and dicing Chad Radwell. But then one of the Dickie Dollar Scholars decides to run up. No, not Chad! And he starts swinging with his bat, and as he swings, the bat gets chopped in half. Then all of a sudden, one of his arms gets chopped off, and then all of a sudden the next arm gets chopped. Well, he picked up. He was picking up his arm to like beat him with the bat that was in the arm, but then they chop off that other arm, and then he bleeds out on the ground. And yeah, Backstreet's back. All right. What did everyone think of this death and this sort of showdown with not one but two Red Devils?
It at least cut off that whole scary movie crap where it's like, oh no, it's not one killer, it's two. Shock at the end. No, now you know for sure there's more than one killer. Like, I liked that. We got rid of all that shit the second episode. And second, like, they really did the whole Monty Python Black Knight shit with like one of the Dickie Dollar Scholars. And they had to fucking knock him out with a baseball bat at the very end with a home run sound. I fucking loved that. I don't know. It was the best thing ever. After the show, I have a habit of like the songs get stuck in my head, so I had to play Backstreet's Back and just crack up.
See, for me, it was the Stacy Q song "Two Hearts" that got stuck in my head because I just felt it was so random. They showed Chanel Number 6. Yeah. Wilson, what did you think of the Dickie Dollars showdown with the Red Devils?
That was awesome. I just thought it was awesome, man. Like, okay, is he dead? We sure? The guy who got his arm is.
I would assume on this show you really don't know, but I would assume yes, he's dead.
The chick with the acid bath survived, so I have no idea whether 2 arms getting cut off means you're dead or you're not. So.
Yeah, we might see him with bandaged up or something.
Turned into a sushi roll, just
yes,
wiggling around.
Wow.
But holy shit.
So it was pretty. It was that ended all like I don't know, man. If it continues if the series continues at this rate, it's gonna get wow. like I said, I wasn't impressed at first, and the more we discussed it, I went back and watched them again. I was like, yeah, I catch it all up. Yeah, I think I like this. And then this episode 3, I think it sealed it for me. Like it had just enough, like it had that cheekiness still. It was cracking jokes here and very cliche. I guess cliche is the most cliche word to use in that situation. But at the same
cliche
time,
in a good way, in my opinion.
Exactly, in a great way. Like it's like, at first I was like, man, this is kind of corny. But now the more it twisted, the more it pushes. I don't have quite a phrase. I was trying to think of it earlier, but it's like the non-horror envelope. I don't know if that's actually makes sense. But even if you're not into horror or like it, you still like, this is kind of funny. Like this, like what are these guys doing? How did they keep getting in these stupid situations? Like it's super obvious that you shouldn't be in this situation, which makes the deaths, although we only had 2 this time around, that much more enjoyable. It's like you should know better at this point. Like everybody knows it. You're in a horror movie, like you're in a slasher movie, right? A slasher like series, right? And it's like they know it, and they're doing everything they can to get killed. And I think that's the reason why it's growing on.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, actually. Do you think that they're doing all of this, though, because of that weird film analysis class where they showed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Well, that was actually going to be one of my questions. I was going to ask it later, but let's ask it now since you brought it up. Because as I mentioned in the synopsis, that in the film class, which is being taught by Wes, which a bunch of the characters actually have to take, Wes, his favorite movie is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he had this weird sort of thing of like, are we all running away from our chainsaws, which was kind of an odd thing to say, and they showed that in the class, which, Candle Girl wanted to light her candle, because why not? But do we think the chainsaws, the actual chainsaws that the Red Devil used, was inspired by that class?
I think so. I think some of the Red Devils, because I still think it's 3. They're 3 killers. I think some of them take like the college classes and thus were inspired by his class and thus like took up like the chainsaws.
Anybody else?
Then again,
I agree with that, but I'd like to add that I think somebody's doing it like as a natural reaction. Like that's something that they want to use. And then the other one, there's a copycat that's actually just picking up stuff in the class, like Priscilla's saying. So somebody's actually doing it. I think I've still got a heavy hand towards her dad or Grace actually being the killer, but we're still going on it. But somebody else in the class, maybe 2 people, maybe another. It's like and like we said, we know that people are still being manipulated to do things. But somebody else in the class, like Priscilla's saying, is picking up and copycatting it. And I don't know if they're actually getting the chance to commit a murder before the other Red Devil commits a murder and vice versa. So that's still kind of hard. That's still up in the air right there. But I think like I do think there's somebody else in there kind of copycatting that whole situation in order to kind of commit a murder or two on their own. So they don't really know how to do it, so they're kind of picking it up as they go.
Prince, is there a correlation between the class and the actual usage of chainsaws by the Red Devil?
I thought that he killed Coney first before the class. Wasn't Coney killed before the class? Or was it the class and then Coney?
That's something I can't remember the exact order. Does anybody remember the order?
Because I thought they shot Homeboy in the junk. So then she did the whole we need to get rid of the mascot, and then they did the little Coney montage, and I thought Coney got killed, and then I thought they introduced Dad with the class.
I'm trying to think the order.
I think they introduced Coney, and I think then she went to class, and she's like,
"Oh, okay."
What to do. And that's when she's like, "Oh my God, Dad, what are you doing here?" And then, she left, and then the dad had the really fucking weird thing, and then Coney's like, "Yeah, I'm a mascot," and then he gets chainsawed.
Yeah.
Like,
right. You also have to keep in mind that that type of stuff is going to happen closer to the end of the week. So I would assume. Yeah.
See, just as a side note, just going to college, like that would like weird me out. Like if you had someone that was like, I don't know, the daughter of a teacher, and she was just like, "Oh, Dad, why are you teaching my class?"
I would have never done that if it was one of my parents. That would be so embarrassing.
Yeah. I'd just be like, sit down.
Especially
you might get
if they're
100,
not
just shut up.
Exactly, especially if they're not saying
like,
anything to you, like you're my child, you know? Because he was playing it
how-
off.
But how
He
creepy is
definitely
it that
was like, "Yes,
they never
Juliana,
introduced him as an intellectual, as an academic? They're like they had him in like they were. If I recall, in the very first episode when Grace and Wes were in the truck, they were in a truck, right? And he had him like like a Carhartt, like a workman's jacket. They presented him like a blue collar guy.
Well,
And
they
then all
did
of a
have the
sudden now he's the
conversation, though.
professor that-
Remember with the dean, she goes, "You do have an academic background," or he mentioned that he has an academic background, and remember he pitched himself for a job on campus.
Mm-hmm.
When that's when she was all like hot for
Hot
parent.
for teacher.
Well, hot for teacher too, yeah.
Indeed, hot for teacher. That would kind of well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of I don't know, man. I don't know. Ooh, that guy. I don't know. Something
gets you the
about
creeps.
him. Maybe it's the mustache, but something about that guy.
There you go. Well, we'll be chatting about him in just a second, but first, we need to stop with our good friend. We have Zayday. She's walking back to the Kappa Kappa Tau house, and Denise Hemphill, calls her over, and she's like, "It's very dangerous out there. Let me give you a ride back." And so she gets into the car, and bam, she gets handcuffed to the wheel of her cruiser because she says that Zayday is a person of extreme murderous interest, and she's got evidence. Number one, Zayday was planning to run against Chanel for Kappa president. Number two, Zayday had in her possession a CD from Best Buy, but not just any Best Buy. It was purchased at the same Best Buy where now deceased Shondell worked at. Number three, Zayday has been tweeting accomplice plot suggestions to Shonda Rhimes, the executive producer of How to Get Away with Murder. #Cahoots.
Cahoots.
And number four, Zayday had a chainsaw under her bed, but Zayday sort of explained, that her grandmother sent her the chainsaw after the tasers got taken away. And so, with that answer, Denise she seems satisfied with that, and she lets Zayday go. Can I just say, I hope she doesn't die, but if Denise Hemphill dies, I'm going to be very sad.
Yeah. Me too. Completely agree.
Niecy Nash is bringing it with this role. She's kind of like a clueless Barney Fife 2.0.
Yeah. Pretty much brings it all together. She brings home the whole comedy point to remind you that horror and pretty much all genres of film and TV are based in comedy, even if it's tragedy. So I think she's that key cog that like if she weren't there, the show would have a totally different vibe to it.
I think she's almost a straight man, because Grace Gardner kind of sucks as like the as the detective. Pete Martinez Pete Martinez isn't like a good detective. Like, they keep missing bits, but like Denise Hemphill like says the same thing all of us are thinking, which is just like, if the killer's there, don't go there. It's always blood. What the hell are you doing, like, with a chainsaw under your bed? Like, all of these things, like, you as a viewer, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is obvious. Like, she's playing the straight man, and I like that.
And I think what's awesome about it, and I hate to do it, but the fact that they use a black woman, it's perfect. We go to the movies and we're gonna tell you, don't take your dumb ass in there. That's where the killer is. You don't see that trail of blood down the damn wall. You don't see that. You know damn well your mama taught you to clean the wall with a rag, and you don't see that damn trail of blood down the wall. You're gonna walk right in there. She's the perfect, like, it's like, I agree with you. It's like, it's perfectly obvious, and she kind of, to use a black woman in that role, I'm just saying, it kind of makes it like, it adds to the over obviousness of the show. And I think that's what's growing on me. It's like it's so in your face with the horror and intertwining what horror is really supposed to be, what a slasher film or what a slasher spoof. In my opinion, it's redefining the genre by using the genre itself. Mm-hmm. And I know I hated it last week, but I think I've truly been converted. Like, I'm starting to really enjoy this show.
I kind of think she's doing like her stuff, and then she's like going back like as Deputy Rainisha in like Reno 911, and she's just coming back to like scream because she's exactly the same person.
Right.
Oh God, I love her. I don't know, but did you notice that that her, like, when she is bringing up the evidence, she printed out the tweet and put it in an evidence bag? I'm like, why the fuck did you put it in an evidence bag?
I was thinking that. I was like, what was the, like, wait, like, no one's ever touched it. So, like, you printed it. The fact that she tried to detain Zayday, though, I was like, you can't do that. And, yeah.
Boom,
yeah, wow.
Shakalaka.
Now, Zayday seems like she's honest, but I think she's got too many, like, I don't know, like I said last week, she's got a lot of little alibis, perfectly timed alibis for everything. And in my experience, people who lie generally have a lie already in the chamber to shoot at you. Just saying. People that tell the truth generally just kind of, they don't explain as much. They just kind of say what they say and they keep it moving, or they don't say anything at all, expect you to, trust that they're telling it. They don't have to tell the truth, that they're on the up and up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's a totally different. And I think Zayday, she may not be the killer, but I don't know. I still think she might have a hand in it somewhere, because she always has a perfectly timed alibi. And we know how those work in slasher films. If you got a perfectly timed alibi, you generally have something to do with it.
But I feel her alibi for the chainsaw is right, because if it wasn't right, why the hell would she be a dork and be practicing with it later, like for the viewers, where she's like, ha! Wait, damn it.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
By the way, I love the fact that the show brings up the fact that minorities are fucking amazing at sneaking like fucking like packages to like their kids to like protect them, because like that is so fucking like true. Oh God.
It's very true.
The things.
So moving into the last section of the episode, we have Gigi and Wes finally having their salad date. Because remember, it's not dinner, it's not coffee, it's very cash with salad. But unfortunately, they have a third wheel, Dean Munch. Dean Munch is there chewing salad as well. Earlier in the episode, while playing tennis horrendously with Gigi. Gigi can't play tennis for shit. She basically told Gigi, step away from my man. I claimed him. He's mine. He's not yours. Watch your back. And so they're all eating together. Dean Munch has brought all these different salad dressings. Gigi's very excited because she's having Thousand Island, and she says that her salad tastes like a Big Mac.
And she got drunk as hell.
She did.
He was all freaking laughing and...
Yes.
Yeah.
And so during this dinner, this is where we find out that Grace is vanished. Basically, she has gone with Pete to do a little bit of research because she basically had come to the conclusion that Pete isn't the killer. At least that's what she thinks. And they were comparing notes. She thinks Chad Radwell might be one of the killers. He had found this, out of all the names that he had written down from when he snooped in on the files in the dean's office, one of the names came up as someone who had dropped out 2 credits shy, and she lives 6 hours away from campus. So they're on their way to go speak to this person. So Wes leaves. The 2 ladies, Gigi and the dean, decide to go to bed. And as they go to bed, the dean is like, I can only sleep with this white noise machine. Are you okay with this? She says she's fine. And it's the loudest white noise machine that you've ever heard. There are these, whale distress calls. There's a baboon attack, and she ends up leaving it on Slasher Movie, which was fantastic because it sounded. I think that was like a little wink nod to Halloween, because it sounded just like the music that would be in a movie like Halloween. And so Gigi decides to go downstairs for a little bit of peace and quiet. She lays down on the couch. She, has her little blanket and everything, and bam, we see the Red Devil with a chainsaw attacking Gigi. Wes hears a scream. He's outside in his car, snooping like he was during last week, and he enters. He gets a little sliced on his arm from the chainsaw, but they manage to bump the Red Devil over the couch. The chainsaw is still buzzing. They look over. The girls come down. They're like, go back up, call 911. And they look over, and the Red Devil has disappeared, leaving the chainsaw. Then all of a sudden, Dean Munch comes downstairs. She's like, what's going on? I couldn't hear anybody because of the white noise machine. And they immediately accuse her of being the Red Devil, which made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, really? Why? But why not, I guess. So, what did everyone think of the culmination of the episode? Let's talk a little bit about Grace, trying to find this person. Does anybody have any sort of clues as to what you think they might find, as well as just in general this final Red Devil attack and the accusation of Dean Munch being the Red Devil?
Well, I think they're obviously going to find one of the 1995 girls. They're probably going to find the really bitty one. The one that was just like, 1995 was my jam. Or since there was D's and C's, probably the really stupid one. The one that was like, "Aw, that's a baby. That's so adorable." And I didn't like the fact that she's parked and the place that she's parked said "last stop," but that's always like, ooh, creepy movie. And I also didn't like the fact that her dad's like tracking her with a GPS, and he's like, "I have to like know where she is at all times." Like Zeta even pointed out, dude, that's creepy as fuck. What the hell? More and more, the dad is showing himself to be like really, 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 I don't know, like he might not be the Red Devil, but something's off with that guy. And as for like the whole Red Devil like fight scene, Gigi showed her stuff. Oh my god, that flying kick was awesome. Like I thought for certain that she was gonna take one of the tables because it was like iron piping and do a whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like guard herself with like the iron piping and just like push back. But right. I was just like, that'd be too referential. She did a really good job. I was just kind of like, unmask it. Let's find out what one of the Red Devils are. But they ran away. So that was pretty good.
That's the thing that I've noticed. And I kind of agree with you with everything you're saying. I think that's one thing that I was really noticing. Is the Red Devils are running away now. Like for example, when Chanel number 2 got killed, he was texting her and tweeting her and I'm right here in your face, like, and then later, now the guys are running, which furthermore kind of adds to that. I think at first it may have been one Red Devil, and then another one thought it was a good idea to kind of get their revenge on somebody else in the process. Or vice versa. The revenge devil was the first one, and then somebody else decided to copycat. And then I'm thinking maybe a third one who's just a dumbass. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not gonna say fuck that. Fuck it. I think Chad is the third dumbass. He just thinks, last week I was like, well, but now I think he just thinks it's funny, and he's like, ha 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 ha. Everybody wants to have sex with the Red Devil, and not realizing that you're making yourself like you just kind of you see him, and he's like, oh shit, like you know what I mean? Like I agree with you on that, but I kind of the Red Devil's running away thing shows that there's more than one Red Devil to me. I think that's kind of a surety to show that there's at least two, and so good point on bringing that up, by the way. I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
Distressed whale sounds. Holy crap.
Jump on Prince.
For a movie. Oh no. Well, no, I agree pretty much with a lot that was already previously said. So, all I could really just say was, it was just comical watching it all play out, and just watching how last week we said that we thought there was a team, and like this week we just actually, we were shown that we were right. So like not everything that we put out there we're right on, but some of the stuff we're slowly getting the answers to.
It's like that movie Clue. You guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
It's exactly like Clue. And it's like, man, this thing could come out with multiple endings and each one would be just as satisfying. But the one that they choose to be the final one is going to be the best for us.
Can you imagine if they make the DVD and it's like the DVD, like ending A, it was this person, the original one. Oh, that'd be fucking awesome. Like,
yeah, that would be fun, as long as it makes sense for each one. And it certainly seems as if a lot of the characters have motives. So before we dive into the spoiler section, it's time for our campus superlatives, or Kappa Kappa Tau superlatives. Who do you think will survive until the finale, and who is /are the killer or killers? So it's time to give our predictions, and I'll go first since I went last time. I still think, well, I'll add in, because I believe I said Grace and Chanel #1 would survive. I'll add in Zayday. I think the three of them are going to survive 100% until the finale. And I think the killers are obviously Boone and Wes, the father. Boone could be the baby from the tub, maybe, because he's a junior, so he would be the right age. And yeah, so that's sort of my prediction. Wes could be the father, or maybe not. Maybe he was just friends with the one that was pregnant. But yeah, so it could be at least Wes and Boone.
Wow. Now that you say it, I'll have to.
wow.
Thank you, everybody.
If you really think about it, that makes perfect sense.
Because it's also, they
always a father-son kind of combination.
Whenever there are multiple killers, one of the killers has to get hurt so that it draws away suspicion. And remember, he got chainsawed a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wow. Outstanding.
Yeah, so that's my theory for this week. Next up, Wilson.
Ooh, on the spot. Let's go.
Exactly. Thank you. He's going to put me, he's going to give a great analysis and be like, Wilson. Well, as far as who's going to make it to the end, after watching it, as we can see, I'm a totally very different guy from last week to this week. So, of course, we know Grace is going to make it, but I'm saying Zayday's going to make it.
Denise?
Say what now?
What about Denise?
I don't know.
I thought Denise was...
I think if she makes it, it's going to be, I think she will make it. She'll be the person who says the last line of the last second of the last episode. Like she'll say something like funny and like end it on like a Merry Melodies note, like a Looney Tunes note, and you'll be like, really? Like, is that how it ended at the end of the season? Like a bunch of people will get whacked, and then she'll say something classic.
These white people are crazy.
Exactly. Like something silly like that, and I think she'll make it through there because of that. I think Zayday, because Zayday's cool with Grace still. As far as the murderers, I'm still thinking Chad is like a moron that's just somehow caught up in it. I still think the Dean has something to do with it, although I don't think she's actually one of the Red Devils. I think she might dress up as a Red Devil as like a red herring. That's a lot of red in there. But just somebody to distract everybody else while the other Red Devil's actually killing somebody. We know Boone because Boone is, of course, is Chad's butt buddy, and then I think Wes. I think Wes might. Like I said, I thought somebody was masterminding the entire thing, and it's always one of those intimate relationships, and I think it's either like a sexual relationship or like a father son or like a mother daughter. It's one of those very close relationships where it's easy to be manipulated. You know what I'm saying?
Mommy.
So yeah. So I'm. It's kind of hard to tie it all together, man, and I really can't say definitively after my hard stance last week. So I'm gonna leave it totally up in the air. But we heard everybody that I said, but I'm thinking it's all the white people pretty much.
There you go. I love that Wilson has like 50 Red Devils. He's like, everyone's a Red Devil.
I honestly think it's more than one I think it's like 3 or 4 of them. Honestly, I'm saying 3, maybe 3.5. And I say 3.5 because somebody who's just stupid, who just so happens to wear a Red Devil costume. And they just happen to show up in a red, they won't matter at all at the end. We won't even see them come up at all. They just so happen to they'll be like, there was an extra Red Devil in there, and that's the half Red Devil. I think there's 3 of them, though.
Like Pete? Oh, jeez.
Maybe. Prince?
Hell, it might be Gigi.
I think Denise is going to survive to the end just because she's the one little cop, and I think they're going to keep her for the comedy relief. Because Niecy Nash is just hilarious. But as for the killers, I definitely changed my opinions from last week. I still think clearly Boone and I still think the Dean have something to do with it. I don't think the Dean's a Red Devil, but I think she is the ringleader of the groups of Red Devils. I think she pretty much has multiple Red Devils. I think she has 2 that are known, and maybe one that's not known. That's just to clean up the mess, Plan B in case the first ones don't go through. But I think Pete is that his name? The
Pete
journalist?
Martinez? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of them. Just because, okay, if dude in the junk that got shot in the junk was the mascot, wouldn't that make Pete a liar for having why would he have a costume too? How many mascots do they need?
There could be alternate mascots, right? Maybe. But
He
that
did
is
look kinda-
suspicious, isn't it?
He kind of looked disappointed during the whole Take Back the Night when Coney came out. He looked sad. So.
And then
But Coney though, seriously, Coney.
Yeah,
It was the only costume she could find in 24 hours.
Really,
pretty much.
really, no gorillas.
Jacket.
How do you
I
rename the
think-
entire school in a day?
She's the dean. She can do it.
Wow,
And she got to cover her tracks.
man. I personally think
And
all of them die.
I also think Hester's a Red Devil. I think she actually might be the kid, the baby that was born. She has mother issues.
Mommy?
That's
Yeah,
true.
we've never
Mom.
discussed her mommy issues. We'll discuss it next week. Because that's fascinating, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she has serious mommy issues. She feels the need, she needs that maternal instinct. I think maybe that, and the fact that she's a history major. Think about it. She's digging up history. She has a murderous intention because she likes dead bodies, and she has mother issues.
Yeah.
She is the perfect candidate to be the baby that was born that night.
So you think she's faking the scoliosis?
Maybe not. Well, maybe
Yes.
not. But
Yes,
yeah, she was so willing to take that brace off that quickly that I think she was even really ready to get out of that costume.
Booyah.
Mm.
Scoliosis.
that's why she went-
Scoliosis.
Well, because I just see it as she would dominantly blame the sorority for her mother's death, and
Mhm.
why wouldn't she want to be close up to the head person of the sorority when it seemed like it was the head person of the sorority's reason, for her death? But for all we know, who Chanel's
would-
mother could have been that bitch from 1995.
But she would always idolize them because it's the closest she would ever get to her actual mother.
Well, true,
Mhm.
or maybe it's kind of like a revenge. Who, for all we know, Chanel's mother could be the chick that was like, "That's my jam,"
That's true.
Because the thing is, we don't really know anybody's history. So with that being said, like it's just anybody's open to being. For all we know, like every single one of them could be connected, except for Zayday.
She shouldn't have any kids about that age if she was really listening to Waterfalls the way she should have been.
Well, yeah, definitely, but you know how Hollywood likes to play things around. But yeah, I
Who knows?
agree.
How many
Maybe
people
Zayday's wearing blackface. You never know.
Yeah.
No.
I think Keke Palmer's too black for this.
Priscilla, your
Okay.
thoughts.
So, as for who I think is going to survive, last week I said Chanel. This week, I still think Chanel is going to make it, but for just an extra, like another one, I think Dean Munch is going to make it. Like through.
Nice. Shout out to Jamie Lee. We're keeping you alive.
As for who the Red Devils are, I think Boone obviously is like one of the Red Devils. I think he's actually the one that didn't kill Chad, that looked at him before and killed the other guy. That's I think that the other two Red Devils are probably Chanel number 5. That's why she doesn't give a shit about like you can handle all this other crap. And I think the last Red Devil is still Dean Munch. And the whole thing that you mentioned about they always put a whole bunch of blame, or the real villain gets hurt and gets the blame thrown off of them before. I think that's actually going to happen now, because he's like, you're the Red Devil, and it seems like the police is going to go after her in the next episode, so that same logic might apply to her. So my
Yeah,
Red
if
Devils,
you're
my Red
villainous,
Devils still stand.
you always like it that the villains always make it so that they become suspicious and then they get cleared of everything, and then but it's really them doing the stuff.
Yeah, I get that. Or maybe if Wes is trying to point the blame somewhere else.
Exactly.
Either way,
Maybe
Wes
him
is
and
creep.
Gigi are the Red Devils.
Oh no.
Attack of the 90s.
Yeah, well, she is stuck in 1990 in the 90s, so maybe I don't think we've ever really discussed this, but maybe Gigi was one of the sorority girls there. Maybe that's why she was
Maybe
stuck in
she's the one.
1990s.
Maybe she's the nice one.
Because
She's the nice one.
of something traumatic. So it could be
And
that.
yeah, it
potentially.
was so traumatic she blocks it out.
Maybe.
By the way, the whole, you guys all like thought something was going to happen to Denise Hempfield. I actually think she's going to be the last death. She's going to be the one that figures out who all of the Red Devils are, and right before she gets to tell everyone about it, she's going to be killed in like the funniest way possible.
Oh, that would be spectacular. I would really like that. Although I really don't want her to die. But if she's the last death, I wouldn't mind that. Because that means that she'll be in every episode. Because she's fantastic. So, moving into some spoilers. It's time to get a little spoilery. Let's dive into some spoilers for upcoming episodes of Scream Queens. This is an official spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So let's start off with ratings. Leading out of 2 brand new sitcoms, Scream Queens was viewed by 3.6 million total viewers and 1.4 in the key demographic of 18 to 49. It was down 10 and 18% from its 2-hour premiere as it settled into its official time slot. And there is some interesting information that has come out from an interview that Keke Palmer did via entertainmentweekly.com. They're doing a Scream Queens post-mortem every week. And basically she dropped a little scoop that Kappa Kappa Tau pledge Zayday is going to hit it off with Earl Grey. And it turns out that they might get into a little relationship together. And she sort of teased, you should definitely be worried about Earl Grey. He just seems suspicious from the jump. That's what she says. And also, we're going to be meeting very soon a new character, and that's Dean Munch's ex-husband.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's all the spoilers that I have for this week. Not that much information out there, but certainly some juicy tidbits that we can anticipate in the weeks to come. So join us next time for a brand new installment of Are You Afraid? Scream Queens. Visit poppychuloradio.com/archives to download this episode and many more. Registered users will gain access to our archives of previously aired broadcasts. Please like us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/PCR Are You Afraid? Also like Papi Chulo Radio on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Papi Chulo Radio. You can email us with any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns at contact@papichuloradio.com. Co-hosts wish the listeners a good night.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Indeed. Buenas noches.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for a brand new installment of Are You Afraid? Scream Queens. Good night, everyone. Rest in peace, Coney. #Cahoots.